We're just excited about all the program success.
And we're ready to get started. Thanks, Zach. Go Cards.
For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler. It's time for another edition of the Chris Richardson Show. Currently joined by Wheeling University head men's basketball coach Chris Richardson. And Chris, guys, coming off a tough battle with Glenville State, played with them throughout the entirety of the game. They just pulled away late. Talk about that game Saturday and what you saw.
Yeah, we battled. It was a very physical game. I thought the things that we worked on and we talked about that we had to do to win the game, we went out and did our best to do. And like Coach Key always tells me, they're playing hard. They're trying to do what you teach. That's all you can ask for. And so we did that. We struggled to get to the free throw line, especially in the second half, and we weren't able to keep them off the free throw line. So, we got to look at that and figure out what we got to do better in terms of going and finishing stronger at the basket, cutting a little bit harder, and playing without our hands on defense, showing our hands on defense so that we don't put ourselves in a bad situation from a fouling standpoint early in the half. And so. But we competed, played hard, and, I know we'll be ready to go for the last week of regular season here.
And you guys got off to a fast start. I believe it was a 13-3 lead over the first 7 minutes of play. Having that fast start and seeing that from your team, how big was that early? Yeah,
I mean, it was good because some of the things we've been working on in practice, we were able to go out and execute. And, we call that carryover. So anytime you have carryover and you can build on it, it creates even more investment and even more belief in what you're doing. And so, our guys have been great in terms of, as we've talked about every week, Zach, respecting the process and really, really investing in the process. And that's going to continue this week as we head in the final week of the regular season and most importantly, into the Mountain East Conference Tournament.
And as a guy we've discussed a couple times this week, S.J. Hutchinson, a big game for him, 17 points in that starting lineup. Talk about him and kind of the spark he's been bringing.
So S.J. and I met on Friday for about 15 minutes. It wasn't a long meeting. But it was a very productive meeting, and it was just we watched 20, 25 clips of his possessions and his attempts, and he's so good when he can get to the basket, and he can make shots too. And so, as a player, and it's not a situation I ever found myself in, but when you're really good at getting to the basket and you're good at making shots, your decision making. It can kind of slow down a little bit, and he needs to make quick decisions, and he knows that. And he went out and did that from the jump. He got to the basket. He was aggressive getting to the basket. He was aggressive creating shots for others. And then he used his jump shot to complement that. And so, and then on top of that, I think he's been really good on the defensive end for the last several weeks. And so, he was he's very open in the meeting, and we had a very good discussion with it. And I was very happy to see that play out the way that we talked about on Saturday in the game. And so looking for more of the same from this week.
And another guy who had really a breakout game as of late in terms of points was Jerry Saunders Jr. He's been a big role player for you guys this year. To see him break out and get those 14 for him, what was that like?
Yeah, same thing we talked about, quick decisions. And we've put those guys in a position now where they've got a little more space to get to the basket, and they don't have to do it necessarily every time with the ball. They can do it more cutting because they're both very capable cutters. And so they were able to get to the right spot and some cuts and finish, and we need both of them to continue to get to the free throw line. And so when those two guys are playing well, we know we're going to have some guys make shots. We know we're going to have some opportunities in transition. We know we can score inside, but having those two guys playing well makes us feel really good about where we're headed.
Currently joined by Wheeling University head men's basketball coach Chris Richardson. And Chris, entering the final week of the season here, 2 tough games upcoming with the tournament looming beyond that. Talk about this week and kind of the preparations you guys get ready for postseason play.
This week's all about putting ourselves in the best position for the tournament next week. We can't control anything that's happened in the past, and we really can't control a whole lot of what happens in the future. We can focus on the here and now, live in the moment. Right now, the moment is preparing for Point Park, and that's the only thing we're focused on. But within that, we understand that if we win the Point Park game, we are in a better position tournament-wise moving forward. And so taking it one game at a time, had it great. We've started every Monday with a team meeting and just kind of overview of the week from a scheduling standpoint, but also look at the big picture of where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going. And so very positive meeting Monday, good film session. Did not go live in practice Monday night, more of a shooting and more skill work Monday night because – at this point, you got to stay fresh too, So we know we're going to be ready. We got to be fresh and ready. And so we'll get back on the practice court this afternoon and get after it and compete and be ready to go tomorrow night for Point Park.
And you mentioned Point Park coming in here tomorrow night, final home game of the 2024-2025 season. You saw these guys in the start of conference play. Talk about some of the matchups they bring and kind of some of the things you learned from that first matchup.
Yeah, they had a couple guys that really, really shot the ball well in that first game, and so we've got to adjust how we're guarding them. And then their guard, Caden Warner, he's been in and out of the lineup lately, but we're preparing as if he's going to play. He's a really, really capable scorer, and he can make plays for others. He can really pass. And so we got to make sure we're locked in on our keys, and then we got to keep them off the glass. They're the best rebounding team in the Mountain East. They've got a 7-2 front court presence, a 6'11 front court presence, and we can't simulate that in practice. So we got to be good at blocking out, good at pursuing the ball, making sure all 5 players are involved in rebounding, and just being really sound in the little things, in order to put ourselves in a position to win Wednesday night.
And as you guys get ready, March Madness coming up, final week of the regular season. Everyone wants to play during this time. Talk about your message to your team as you get ready to get into this postseason.
Message is simple. This is not only a time of year we want to be playing the best, but most excited about playing. And that radiated from our team yesterday in the meeting and again in skill work last night. They are excited for the week. They're not thinking about next week. I mean, I'm sure they are, but they're focused on this week. And, I'm excited for practice today and excited for the next few days with them because this has been a really, really fun team to coach. And chemistry-wise, this group's been phenomenal. They've not only been fun to coach, easy to coach, but they've enjoyed being around each other, Zach. I mean, you see them all the time. When one's walking, another's walking with him, and it's probably a different guy than you saw him walking with the last time. There's no cliques. We're all unique in our personalities and our experience, but we all come together for the betterment of the team. And so I'm excited to continue coaching this team, this week and going into next week, and hopefully we got a heck of a lot of games left.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck this week. Can't wait to see you out there.
Thanks, Zach. Go Cards.
For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler.
We're just excited about all the program success.
And we're ready to get started.
Thanks, Zach. Go Cards.